I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a soul-stirring journey of resilience, hope, and divine destiny. It is a powerful book that we're talking about today. It's called My Mom and I, Dreams Producing Acts of Crazy Faith. It's written by a terrific author. Her name is Vurnice Maloney, and her story is a powerful, true story that began in the cotton fields of Mississippi and blossomed into a legacy of transformation through faith. If you believe in miracles, healing from trauma, and the strength of a mother's love, this book will move and inspire you. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Books to Life Marketing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her beautiful book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Vurnice, so good to see you here today on Spotlight. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This is quite an incredible story, the story of your mother and you. Right in time for Mother's Day. I think that's terrific. It's quite a tribute. Tell us why you decided to share this wonderful story.
Well, I decided to share it because so many times as young people growing up, you don't want to listen to your parents or anything,
Mm,
you think you know everything,
yeah.
but I was raised to be respectful and to listen and to obey and
Mm,
that. So, during poverty, my young days, I was obedient.
mm,
We had to work for everything. When I say everything, everything we had
mm,
to work for. So early, I would have to get up super early in the morning, be in the cotton field like about 6 o'clock in the morning. And that was a whole day. Okay. And since I was a minor, I was being paid $1.75 a day, and that is
wow.
to work in the field, hot sun, chopping cotton, and no water fountain, no nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I learned. Um, I didn't know we were poor. I really
Mm,
didn't know. I just felt good that I was listening to my parents. And we were grateful for just food on the table and that. And during lunchtime, we would come out of the field, and my great grandmother, she would always have lunch ready.
mm,
After we had lunch, we didn't have no screen doors to the
mm.
house. So naturally, when you cook, the flies smelt the food.
Yeah.
Or in at nighttime in the evening, you had the mosquitoes come in. So I learned, okay, I don't want to be bothered with these bugs. So I would go and sleep underneath the bed.
Mm.
That's where it was cool for one thing, and I was free of bugs and insects.
Amazing, amazing. It's amazing how tough you had it compared to young people today, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's
yes,
amazing, at a young age, picking cotton all day long under the hot sun with barely a break. But it's all you knew. You were happy, you were loved, you had a
yes.
great family, you had your mother there, you had your grandmother there. Um, and I imagine in many ways, even though it was tough and you didn't have a lot of money and there were flies, it was a happy time, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even had to um, create our own play. Okay, we didn't have a ball. Okay,
Mm,
so what we would do, we would stuff old rags and stuff into a sock. Okay,
mm,
and it was four of us: my sister, my cousin, and my brother. Okay, so two of us would go on one side, and this was a shotgun house. So
right.
you go through the front, you go straight, you go out the back. Okay,
Yeah.
so what we would do is two would be on one side of the house, two would be on the other side of the house, and then we would say, okay, okay, throw it over, and if you caught it, then that means you got a point. Okay. If you missed it,
Yeah.
you just didn't get a point, And
Right.
we would do that at moonlight, which
Wow.
was even more creative. But what it did, it showed me even when I started the ministry with kids and we didn't have any money, it showed me how to create your own activity and kids would love it, you
Yeah,
know. So that
exactly.
was one of the things we did.
Yeah, it's
So
the using your imagination. It's going out and play. It's inventing the games. It's being out there at night in the moonlight. I mean, all of that is really magical, and kids today actually miss out on it. I mean, they're glued to these all the time, you know?
oh
And
yes,
instead of
yes.
being out there and going out and playing, there's nothing better, in my opinion. Tell me a little bit about your mom. The book, of course, is called Mom and I. Tell us about your mother.
Well, my mom, she was a teenager naturally, and excuse me, we didn't have no activity and everything. All our activity was going to church. That was it for my mom.
Mhm.
And my dad fell in love with my mom. But at that particular time, if a young person who was active in the church wanted to continue to participate in the church, you could have no sexual activity until
Mhm.
you got married.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my mom, she ended up falling in love with him and they had sex in the car. That was
Mm.
her first time. So when she found out she was pregnant and he found out, total rejection.
Ah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Total rejection. So when I say total rejection, I mean don't call me, don't bother me, don't even talk to me after church. And that was devastating to my
I'm
mother
sure.
because, yeah, she
Yeah.
knew at that particular time, she didn't know any different. It was just don't have sex. But no one explained to her the process of falling in love and how to say no and all of that. It did not occur,
Yeah, and a baby would result, nobody expected any of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It seems like it's magic. You can't make a baby like this, but that's how babies are made. And
Yeah.
teenagers find out the hard way, and there's a lot of heartbreak involved, of course. The subtext of your book or the subtitle is Dreams Producing Acts of Crazy Faith. Now you take a sip of that water and clear your throat, and I'll talk a little bit and fill up the time. But dreams producing acts of crazy faith. Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, after my mother experienced deep rejection and everything, my grandmother, they moved up north. So my mother was able to work, and going back and forth, she met my stepfather and all. And rejection is such a deep, deep experience,
Yeah.
And when my mom would feel rejected, and she would try to do her best, even to please my stepfather. It didn't work,
Mm.
all the time. So she was rejected there. She was rejected at minimum menial labor, because she was from the South. She didn't know anything about how to work up north and everything. So she got double, 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 triple rejection.
Mm.
So my mother started smoking. And then from smoking, she started deep depression to the point where she tried to commit suicide.
Oh God.
And but she learned to maneuver. She learned to succeed because her and my stepfather, they were able to get a house built, low income housing.
Mhm.
They stayed there, but they saved money even doing that low income housing. He worked a second job and saved money to buy a house. So they were able to get a beautiful house built in
Wow.
the suburbs of Chicago, you know.
Mm.
But there was still rejection there, it was still there. And I could hear them, she said, "You don't believe in me." When Mother's Day and she didn't get a
Mm.
gift, she got all upset and started throwing dishes and all. She tried to commit suicide 3 times.
Oh,
But
good
there
for
was
her.
a lady that would come and sell full of products. And she was a Christian lady, and she began to witness to my mother about the Lord Jesus Christ being a savior, being able to talk to and release anger and all of that. So my mother became a Christian, you know.
Mm.
And I mean, she was able, that rejection she experienced, it was turned into
Mm.
producing a home for kids in foster care.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I got out of college, um, and everything, and that's what I had to deal with too. Again, rejection. But I thank God my mother taught me. So anyway, after I got my degree, my mother moved into a house in the country. Okay, in the country. So she says, "Well, you come and move with me." By this time, I'm grown. My brother is grown, and my sister's 18, and then the other one is like 15.
Mm.
So my husband, who was a migrant, okay,
Mhm.
who also came over with rejection and everything because he came through the border, okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So my mom left that brand new house for an old farm that was on 60 acres. That house was on 60 acres of land. And with that, she started taking in children. The first kid she took in was a teenager who had gotten pregnant, who her mother rejected her, okay, and told her she could not bring the baby home.
Mm.
So my mother told her, "Give me the baby. I will take care of the baby for you." Now, granted, there was no prenatal support and
Mhm.
and all of that. My mother used the top drawer of her dresser, and that became the baby's bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so, was she accepted by her family for doing that? Uh-uh.
mm.
No. She says, like, I raised you all. You're grown on your own. I choose to help other kids.
Mm.
And that's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what she did and
Wow.
brought me along.
That's a beautiful story. How old were you when your mother purchased this farm and started taking in foster kids and raising, babies like that? How old were you and what was your reaction to your mom's work?
I was 23, got married at 23. So when mom moved, I was about 25.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Amazing.
And yeah, and by me being a nurse, the nurse have compassion. Um, so when I saw mom begin to take in these people, and I didn't know these people, I come home from work and I see this old farmhouse full of people looking like United Nations. And I'm saying, Mom, where are you getting these people from? You know, but she was on a main highway and people would drive in for instructions or directions or whatever. I don't know. But my mom had this thing of making you feel welcome.
Hmm.
So you can pull in the ask direction, but mom said, "Yeah, it's that way, da 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 da." But now look, if you want eat something, come on. I got a plate of food for you.
Hmm.
And that's the way it all started.
Amazing, amazing. Your mom had a big heart. She turned out to be a mother to a lot of people, which I think is wonderful as well. She took her own rejection and then embraced those who were rejected. And I think
Exactly.
that's wonderful as well. The name of the book we've been talking about today, and it is a terrific book for Mother's Day or any time because Vernice's mother was an angel, no doubt, and her story is amazing. It's called My Mom and I. Dreams Producing Acts of Crazy Faith. It is a powerful true story that began in the cotton fields of Mississippi and blossomed into a legacy of transformation, love, and acceptance, all through the power of faith. Vurnice, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
You know what, Logan? One other thing I would like to say from
Yes.
those lessons that I learned from my mom,
Mm.
we started at that farmhouse with only 8 volunteers.
Mm.
Okay. Today, Garden of Prayer, which is the name of our agency, is the #1 social service agency in our county.
Wow.
And now we have 10 different locations and over 100 employees.
Amazing.
That's what love of Crazy Faith would do.
That is wonderful, and I'm glad it's still thriving and going strong. How can people find out more about Garden of Love?
Garden of Prayer. They can get
Garden of
on
Prayer.
the internet, yeah, and then you can just see GOP, which is
Mhm.
Garden of Prayer Youth Center, is spelled out, and we're on the web. They no problem finding us.
GOP Youth Center, you're on the web, Garden of Prayer, wonderful work, started by your mother, continued by you, and I think that is a terrific legacy. Vurnice, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. God bless you. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.